Last week, I was watching an episode of The Biggest Loser, and it reminded me of my dad, but not in the way you might be thinking. Growing up, my dad always asked me, "Kimmy, what's the worst thing that could happen to you today?" Like, what happened? What was the worst thing? But that's kind of a weird question to ask. What about the best thing? But he had a purpose. He was trying to make me stronger. So we'd go back and forth, and I'd tell him the worst thing that had happened to me today, and he'd tell me the worst thing that happened to him. I'd say, "Dad, mine is so much worse." Recently, I called him and I told him I had won an incredibly large global contract, but one of my lead engineers had left. I was kind of proud. I thought I'd beat him. So I called him to tell him the great news, or the worst news, and he said, "Oh, Kim, I was going to call you." Great. One of my companies is going to go bankrupt, and I needed to call you to get a loan. And I thought, you won. I'm the loser here. What my dad taught me is that failure hurts badly. But when you get knocked down, you have to get back up again. I'm here to share with you my story of becoming a successful entrepreneur. And the secret to success is execution. And this is a skill that can be learned. There's 5 key traits to successfully executing. 3 of them I'm going to share with you today. And 2 of them are in my book that I'm going to give you on the way out. The first trait that every successful entrepreneur needs to learn is resilience. I had my best, worst failure at 23. Maybe around some of the age some of you are today. I'd graduated from college, and I got a job at a hot internet startup in Los Angeles, California. This was right after Yahoo had gone public, and they were going to be the biggest search engine forever. Don't know if they knew about Google, but anyway, side note. When I started there, I was the first of 7 employees, and I was there when we raised our first $1 million in funding. We then proceeded to raise another $120 million. It was like being on a rocket ship, and I was going to become a dot-com millionaire. It was so easy. So I called all of my friends, and I said, "You could become millionaires too. Come work with me. We got $120 million. That should get us pretty far. We've got a brilliant idea." So they did. Fortunately, the market took a turn for the worse, and the dot-com bubble burst, and my company went bankrupt just 3 years later. It's a lot of money to spend in just 3 years. And I was devastated. And I had to lay off all of my friends. Eventually, myself. We closed the doors, turned off the lights, and I didn't know what I was going to do. It was as if in an instant someone had pressed delete on my identity, my future, my career. The average 23-year-old probably only feels one of these things: broke, devastated, and unemployed. I had all 3. And I couldn't call my friends to console me because, well, I told them they were going to become millionaires, and then they were broke. And even a Hallmark card doesn't solve for that one. So I called my parents, looking and in search. And they said, "Kim, I told you so. This internet's a fad. Why would you, get a real job." Wasn't a lot of sympathy from them either. I just wanted to go home, pull the covers over my head, and have an affair with Ben and Jerry. It was at that moment I wanted to take control over my life. I didn't want anyone to push delete on my life ever again. I believed in the internet. Thought it was a great opportunity. I believed in myself. I just needed a $10,000 loan to get off the ground. Well, that was hard to come by given my recent bankruptcy history wasn't exactly a great track record. The market had crashed, so the only person that I thought could maybe give me a loan I called, who would give me more flexible terms. My grandma. So I called her and said, Grammy, I have an incredible investment opportunity for you in the internet. And my grandma said, what's an internet? Yeah, trying to explain her what an internet was beyond the scope of that conversation. So I convinced her, basically, Nanny, you're making a bet on me. And she gave me, or lent me, the $10,000. And with that $10,000, I bought a computer, a GoDaddy account, a business license, and a one-way ticket to Hawaii. And when you say Hawaii, usually people think the sand, the beach, the sun. I'm going to learn to surf. I'm going to learn to dance the hula. It sounded really good. But it didn't work like that. Let's see. This is what it's supposed to look like, right? Hawaii. I love Hawaii. My boyfriend was there. I could live rent-free with him. Sounded like a great deal. But it didn't actually look like this. It looked like this. This is my kitchen table. It's actually not even a kitchen table. It's like a leaf of something else. I don't know. It wasn't actually all freestanding. Anyway, I sat there for nearly 3 years. And did I forget to mention that my boyfriend's sister also lived with us? And her friend. And less than 10 feet away from me every day, they would watch MTV, smoking weed. And I thought to myself, this is not the ideal startup environment. But I wasn't really able to be picky at that point because I didn't have any money, so I guess I would just let that go. And I worked here every day, and I believed. And eventually that company became a $100 million company, which I sold in 2008, and I sold again in 2014 for $235 million. It was resilience that helped me get up after I got knocked down, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. But resilience is not enough. You need passion. Passion is what fuels you. When you think of passion, you think of something you love to do. But I don't see it that way. Passion is a Latin root word of pain or suffering. It's not something that you simply enjoy. It's something you would actually suffer for. When I was 11, I loved horseback riding. I loved horses. But I also had two entrepreneurial parents, a twin sister, an older brother, and horseback riding are pretty expensive. So my parents said I could ride once a month, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to get very good at a once-a-month ride. That's not going to get me very far in my high achievement. So I went to the owner of the barn, and I asked if I could work to get more lessons. And she said, yes, for 7 hours of cleaning stables, we could get a 1-hour ride. I thought, this is a great deal. I was 11, I'd do double of that. I had nothing else to do. This was exciting. Yes, I'm in. I hated the work, but I loved the horses. And when I started my first company, it was the passion that pushed me through. Did you know that only 20% of businesses, actually 20% of businesses actually fail within the first year of starting, and 50% fail within 5 years. That means for the first, 2 to 5 years, it's a coin toss. You could be sitting at your kitchen table for God knows how long with no end in sight that you may actually become successful. Are you that kind of passion? Do you have that passion? I also think when you look at that, you say, okay, it's not just sitting not knowing the outcome, it's also the passion to sacrifice other things. Going out, happy hours, Netflix, Instagram, Facebook, who knows what you might have to sacrifice in order to achieve what you want to achieve. Are you that passionate? Even last week, I woke up at 2 a.m., got ready, put on a suit jacket, went downstairs to make a conference call to Asia. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, what are you doing right now? Put on my pajama pants. I mean, that's some serious passion, right? That's the passion that will push you through. That's the passion that fuels you. Long after others would give up, that passion is what is necessary to become a successful entrepreneur. So when you're looking at what you might want to do, and if it is becoming an entrepreneur, it's about understanding what am I willing to give up. And it's also about, there's a lot of naysayers. And they're going to tell you, like they did tell me, it's not going to work. Get a real job. It's going to go under. You're going to go bankrupt. You already went bankrupt. I'm like, oh my gosh. You're telling me so many things. I got it. I know. I lived it. But you're going to have to suffer through the naysayers and the ridicule. And it hurts. And it's hard. And so passion alone will not make you successful. Because when you get into that place, you need great relationships. Relationships are the cornerstone to success. Building healthy, supporting, inspiring relationships is key to any successful entrepreneur. If you change only one thing in your life, the people, you will increase your chances of success 10 times. And this isn't just in business. This is in personal life too. I choose to spend my time hoping to motivate, inspire, and change the world. I also look and think, personally, my goal is to really change the world for these two. These are my cuties, my 4-year-olds. And they are what give my life meaning. They bring joy and balance. Balance, if you can think, I have balance. This brings balance. 2 4-year-olds. When they were 6 months, I would say it might, but a little bit rougher. But at 4, for sure, there's a balance. They bring laughter. And relationships are about surrounding yourself with those inspiring and healthy individuals. When I started my first company, as I mentioned, there were so many naysayers. And I can remember one night in Hawaii, and I thought, I don't know if I can take so many people telling me why this isn't going to work anymore. So I did something what I would like to call a life audit. A life audit is really simple. You can do it here in the next 1 minute. You make a list of all the people you spend time with. Doesn't have to be a detailed list. I'd suggest more than 5, but maybe less than 10. On the left side, you put a negative. If they are not supporting you and inspiring you and contributing you to your success and challenging you on a day-to-day basis. And put a plus if they are, if those are the ones that are encouraging you to live and pursue your dreams. And then the ones on the minus column, you audit out. It's so simple. It's like the simplest exercise I could ever think of. But it may sound a little bit harsh, I get that. My parents are like, where are we in? Are we out? Where are we in? I'm like, family sin. No, but it really, when you look at it, it's not about spending, it's about spending time and energy where you get the most back. And you know that person that just calls and you think, oh, I don't want to pick up the phone. And then they call back and you're like 3 missed calls and you go, oh my gosh, I really don't want to pick up the phone. That's the person to audit out. That one. And in business, it's important to surround yourself with great complementary individuals that really complement your strengths. I love great big ideas, but I always partner with someone that has complementary attention to detail in order to be able to execute. So the secret to success in business is really the secret to success in life. First, be resilient. When you get knocked down, get back up again. Second, fuel your passion and embrace the sacrifice and the pain. And third is build great relationships. No one is successful alone. Thank you.